Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Virtual Event Livestream Series. We will go live every Thursday at 11:15 and to give you the inside scoop on all things events. For those of you that don't know me, hello, my name is Amanda Ma. I'm the founder and CEO of INNOVATE Marketing Group. We're a virtual and live event experience agency for top brands. We do a lot of events for TikTok, Honda, and East West Bank. We just love events. That's something we're just super passionate about. Today, we're going to be sharing about how to get more engagement for your virtual events. We actually just finished a 3-day virtual conference and it was very successful. So we'll be sharing some best practices from that. First of all is your event strategy. A lot of people, when they're thinking about event, they just want to quickly jump into the detail, but really spend time working on your event strategy. So for this particular recent event, we actually, it used to be a 1-day live event, and we ended up having it for virtual a 3-day, but split it into like half days so that people have time to still do their work, but then able to attend the conference. And then think about the length of the events. You definitely don't want an all-day, full-day virtual event. It's very, there's such thing as Zoom fatigue, which I'm sure all of you have heard about by now, but it's real, right? No matter how engaging, a full day on, doing something on the computer is very stressful and it's just not the best. So make sure you split up the days and do half days, and sometimes you can even do blocks of 2 hours or even 3 hours. So think about that. Which virtual platform will you use? That's also another really big one. And work backwards when you're picking your virtual platform. That's usually how we recommend to our clients. So we truly first try to understand what it is, your vision, and then work backwards from that. Like, okay, this is what you're trying to achieve. So find the platform that fits and fulfill that need. And that's exactly what we did with the recent 3-day conference. Get to know your audience, right? A lot of times you have all these wonderful data for registration, whether it's their company, their title, really get to look at that and see what it is where they're coming from, their background. And you can also input a filter where you actually ask them, what are some questions you have for the speakers? So that you kind of know and you could better anticipate and plan out the schedule as well. So these are some great tips for you guys as you're planning for your own virtual conference. And some of these can even be applied for regular live conferences as well. Gamification, to make it really interactive. So we used a more sophisticated platform. It wasn't just Zoom. And we really made it really interactive. It had auditorium, it had a lobby, even a lounge area where people could actually go in and network with each other. And within the lounge, we even have discussion sessions opportunity for each specific speaker, as well as, certain topics that we know that are popular among that specific for that conference, such as what leadership books is helpful. So people were exchanging a lot of great ideas and tips with one another, because that's how you can really push up the engagement. When it comes to the gamification, you could use scavenger hunt, where you possibly have them, look in different rooms, and as well as leaderboard. So we have leaderboard for all 3 days, which recognize and reward those people who are really engaged. And then we actually tell them these are the ways that you could get more points, right? Whether it's by attending all the sessions, or downloading different documents such as video from our sponsors, downloading white paper. Those are all super helpful tips. And then just building an experience from that. We also had an info booth at our virtual experience where people, if they have questions about what session is coming up, or just other general questions, then they could go to info booth and then respond. Just like how we would normally have at a normal conference, we also have an info booth. So we make sure that was consistent, and that was super helpful, because within the info booth, we have general information as well as technical information, so that depending on what their needs are, attendees could go to the info booth and get responses right away versus emailing someone and waiting for a response. So that also helped bump up your attendee satisfaction and their attendee journey experience. Virtual networking, we get this question a lot. Because it is virtual, you want to make sure there are opportunities for networking. right? So it's not just a whole session where it's like speaker after speaker after speaker. First of all, you need to implement breaks into your program. So allow time people to maybe use the restroom, stretch. If they're sitting in front of a computer for 4 hours, that's still a very long time. So input those breaks so that people have time to do that, or, quote unquote networking time as well. And for the networking, I kind of shared a little bit earlier, within the lounge area, we actually embed the networking within the lounge area so that we have a general networking tab, and that's just for any general conversation. And we also create a certain specific tab and topics based on all the speakers that we have. And since it's a 3-day event, we make sure that each day is a little bit different because it reflects the speaker lineup, so that people, can really go in and just as if they were at a live event. Normally at a live event, you would go up to the speaker that you like and, ask them a bunch of questions or let them know how much you love the event. So that's what we really created that lounge/networking space for. And it worked really well because it really sparked a lot of great conversations and interaction. In fact, our 3-day conference was so highly engaged that even the virtual platform that we use, the vendors say, wow, this is a record, because there was so much engagement, as well as 90% of our attendee actually showed up, right? And a lot of that has to do with great communication that went out before the event to remind people of the event that's coming up. And we also suggested to our client to implement, as part of the communication, that every day in the morning to send out another communication about what's coming up today. And if there's anything different, make sure you put that at the top, because it's the build that excitement, especially we're trying to carry. It's a 3-day event. You want to keep that momentum. And I'm very happy to say every day we have great show up rate. And the client was very happy with, in terms of, and we were really happy because we've been working on that project for a few months. So it's really great to see that, the overall experience was very high and the engagement's really high. So those are some tips for you guys as you guys plan your virtual conference. If you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat. Okay, I see the first one, scavenger hunt and leaderboard. That's a great question. I'm so glad you're asking that. But for scavenger hunt, how that works, and it could work a little bit differently depending on the platform you're using. But for the particular one we're using, we're able to scatter. The event was called Spark the Light. That was the theme. So we thought, how appropriate, we're thinking about icon, and one of our team members came up with light bulb. So it was kind of very subtle in the background of a lot of our clients' design too. So we thought that's like perfect icon. And then we spread that out throughout the whole virtual space. And how people could get points for that, for the scavenger hunt, is when they, they had to go to each room to find it. And we kind of sprinkle it around into a different room. In the expo hall, we did have more than just one. We have 4 in there, so that it forces people to visit all the room and kind of explore and find all the light bulbs. So that makes it very interactive, right? Because normally maybe people will only go to an auditorium just listening to the speaker. Now they're incentivized to go check out the other room, because guess what? Each room there's something different. So it makes it that much more fun. All right, that's it for today's session, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thanks for joining us.